Right, so here we are, day one of the 2024 fishing season, and the river, as you can see, is atrocious. There's so much soil in there coming off the farmers' fields. You can't even see the lure just under the surface. Right, well, here we are on a really nice sunny morning. As we've seen, the river is, well, ugly, just ugly. Chances of catching a fish pretty remote, but we're here anyway. Being the first day of the 2024 season, 3rd of March. So no opportunity to fly fish at all. We would have been spinning, but as I said, the water is ugly, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to have a go with a couple of reels I picked up at auction. Sorry, I'm going to have to put these back on because that sun is so bright. Now, as you may have seen my videos before, I like to use the STRADIC 5000, SHIMANO STRADIC C5000. That's loaded with 20-pound mono, and that is my go-to reel for spinning for salmon. It's got a really nice, big, chunky handle there to get hold of. And there's no anti-reverse, you can't wind back, but then if you're playing a salmon, as somebody else said on a YouTube video the other day, you're not going to be able to back wind. You'll end up breaking your thumb and losing the fish, as he did, apparently. Yeah, you play it off the clutch. Always play it off the clutch. That is why some people prefer to have the clutch at the back, on the back here, so they can adjust it while they're playing the fish. I don't mind. I set it quite light, and then so the fish can run. Not too easy. You set the hook, you let it run, and then as it tires a bit, you can always just click it up a couple of times. That's my normal reel. More recently, I've been fishing using a Hardy 9'6", I think it is, spinning rod, which is very nice. But I've still got my old Abu Garcia. Oh God, this is heavy in comparison. But this is my old salmon rod, and I have caught fish to estimated 30 pound on that. So. And it's still serviceable, which is quite handy, because today I am going to have a go at fishing with a couple of little toys I picked up as part of a lot at my local auction house. I think there were 5 reels in the set, and the 3 smaller ones were all Shimanos, all Calcuttas. This is the smallest one, and this is just says the Calcutta 200 XT. Yeah, 200 XT, which is a nice little multiplier. Level wind. I don't know much about these, but I can remember as a kid, I think it was in Mr. Crabtree fishing book. It was the very last page, you know, just as an afterthought. There was one on salmon, fishing for salmon. I think they were either fishing with prawn or spinners. Anyway, and the guy there was wading. Wow, that was unusual back in the 70s. Was wading, and also he had a multiplier. It was probably a Penn or an Abu Garcia. And I've always thought, I've used multipliers, you know, beach casting, sea fishing and that. And I saw these at auction, and I thought, God, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be great? Yeah. And there were 5 of them in the lot. 3 of them were the Shimanos. Anyway, so there's this one. And then there's the next size up. God, look at that beautiful bit of engineering there. And this is the Conquest. Shimano Calcutta Conquest. Again, level wind. Japanese made, not Chinese, Japanese made. Not so popular in the UK, it seems, these days. But the Yanks, the Americans, seem to love them. So They weren't cheap. Well, they were half the price they would have been brand new, and they've never been used. This one has got some braid on it, which I'm estimating at 20 to 30 pound braid on it, and I'm just going to risk it. This smaller one, I think, is going to be ideal for lure fishing for jackpike or perch. That'll be beautiful for perch. I think both these rods are a bit heavy for it, but still. That one I can just put in the bag and maybe think of another day. This is the one I'm going to look at today. And this is the Conquest. Yeah, the Conquest, what's that say on there? 400, Conquest 400. I think you might be able to see that yourself. Yeah, Conquest 400. Lovely colour, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to rig this up and see what goes on. Now, the other thing, excuse me while I get the box. Oh, there it is. Oh, sorry about that. See my butt? Yes, I was in my tackle shop the other day and I said, oh, I got these things and I want to put some braid on them. And he said, oh, this is great stuff. This is my local tackle shop, Lobbies. And he said, you want to give this stuff a go? Westin W6. And it is, what have I got here? Lime Punch is the colour. Has 135 metres of 18 pound braid. But he showed it to me and I've got to agree. Now that is, I'll come to that later in a minute. I doubt if you can actually see that on the camera. It's like silk. This is braid and it's as smooth as anything. It's like silk. Amazing stuff. Anyway, so I loaded that on there, but of course 135 yards is not going to be enough to fill the spool to start with, and also to play a salmon in this river, the River Wye, because yeah, they can run 100 metres or more. So this is on top of, what have I used as backing? Oh yeah, 20 pound mono. 20 pound mono, and there's about 300 metres of 20 pound mono backing the braid, but it's the braid I'm using to fish with, so that's the important thing. And then if a fish goes over 135 metres down the river, at least I've got something to play in with behind that. Now, on the tip of this, because I fly fish, I use tapered leaders when fly fishing for salmon, but they, when you're changing flies, they get shorter and shorter and shorter, and eventually they get too short for fly fishing. So instead of throwing them away, I use them as almost pike proof hook lengths. And also, you see, it's quite heavy. I reckon that's got to be about 30-40 pound breaking strain. Could be even more than that. Anyway. And that means I can tie my spinners or whatever onto that, and I use that as yeah. So anyway, now which I'm going to set this up alongside the SHIMANO STRADIC on two rods, obviously, so we can have a bit of a comparison, casting distance and things like that. So I've got two rods here. I've got the old rod and I've got the new rod. Now, the only way I'm going to decide which reel to put on which is I'm going to put the Multiplier bait caster on the Hardy rod, and the Stradic fixed spool is going on the old Abu Garcia. Why? Simple. The first eye on the Hardy is smaller than the first eye on the Abu. And fixed spools, as you know, the line spools off, so it would benefit from having the larger first eye. Now, what are the benefits of the Multiplier over the fixed spool? Well, for a start, when you're spinning, you get a lot of line twist, don't you? And you could put swivels on there, you could put these little anti-kink vanes on there. They work to a degree, but they don't stop line twist. Line twist is a killer of fixed spools. You can get some real horrible messes fishing a fixed spool once it gets a lot of line twist in. Yes, you should get rid of that line twist each time you go fishing, simply by running your line out in a big long field like this for 100 metres or so, and then just reeling it back in with nothing on the end so it can untwist itself. Who's got time for that? Who's going to waste good fishing time doing that? Well, I might, because the river's pants today, but still. No, with the multiplier, it's winding on and winding off. It goes on straight, it comes off straight. So line twist is less of a problem unless you get an overrun. But then that's all down to the setup of the reel, how you set up the drag and everything else for when you're casting. But we'll look at that once I've got them set up. Oh, what a lovely day. A bit bright, but it's warm. 3rd of March. Lovely. Oh yeah, I'll set these up then. I'll get back to you. Rightio. So we now got both rods set up. Ooh, it is bright. Yavu Garcia Souverain with the STRADIC 5000. Now I've put the exact same lure on both rods to make it. I won't be fishing with these, you see I haven't even bothered trimming the nylon. It's Flying Sea. I think these are the 23 gram. Won't be fishing with these. These are literally just to use as a guide. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick this off down the field, just to give me a benchmark to go by. No real effort. And I'll just take up the slack on that. There. Now I'm going to pace out the distance. Yeah, of course you can't wind back on this thing, can you? Just pull it off. Right, I'll pace out the distance in a minute. Right, okay. Now, you're going to have to forgive me if I make a complete and utter haulix of this. Because it's a long time since I've used one of these things. And setting the weight, because you can adjust the amount of braking or drag when you cast. This has nothing to do with playing the fish. When you're playing the fish, you adjust this, the star drag. That's what you adjust when you're playing a fish, and that is your main drag. I've got that set very low at the moment. Anyway, right, the old way of setting when beach casting with a multiplier, and you're using sort of 4 to 6 ounce leads, what you would normally do is release the spool, keep your thumb on it. Oh, you release it by pressing that little lever there. Right, that lets it go. Right, and what you want is the weight of whatever's on the end of the line to just take line off the spool. And that might be a bit quick, but you could slow that down quite simply. Of course, that resets itself when you turn the handle. This is a right hand wind, which is not ideal for me because I like to play a fish with my stronger arm. But anyway, it's right hand. That's what they had there. So we can adjust the drag on the spool when casting with this here. Now I'm going to come a bit closer so you can see a bit better, and I'll hold it near the microphone, which is this one on, no, this one on the right here, so you can hear the adjustments on this drum. Did you hear the 3 clicks? I'll go back. There. Each one of those clicks is about 1/10 of a gram in weight of what you're casting. That's what I've heard anyway. That's what I've been told. So, if we think that the spool is running too freely, we give that, just take that up again. We'll give it a few clicks, 4 clicks, and try again. Sounds about the same to me. Right. Now remember, this is just a 23 gram lure on the end. It's pulling this line off, and we haven't cast anything yet. Let's go a few more clicks. That's about 7 more clicks. Now that seems to be a bit slower. We'll wind it up quite a bit. Oh, that is definitely slower. That was definitely slower. You can see what I'm doing. I'm pressing this lever down with my thumb, which then leaves my thumb holding the drum itself. I then just lift my thumb, and away it goes. Now that is dragging quite a bit more. We'll give it a few more clicks. Here we are. Bring the lure back up off the ground. Lever. Thumb off. We'll give that a go, shall we? Anything could happen here. Wish me luck, folks. Oh. A bit shorter. Right. Here goes nothing. This could end up in an absolute disaster, or it may just plop 10 feet in front of us because there's too much drag. Oh, that went, but I released too late. I released and it shot straight away from me. But that definitely was some resistance when I cast, because there are magnet brakes in here that you can adjust. Right. Well, just for the S's and G's, we'll paste that out and see how far those both went. Just as a rule of thumb. We'll switch to the other camera, that one down there. Oh, and you'll lose audio as well as I walk away. But fear not, I'll put it back on later. I forgot to pace it, didn't I? And I will pace away now. 1, 2, 3. Right, 27 paces and 41 paces. But like I said, it was first cast and the brakes were on quite hard, so a bit of fine tuning should be all right. And then I'll just go and get these in and give it another go. Right, well, lesson number 1 has been learnt. I've been going up and down, doing a few casts, adjusting the casting spool thing here, and I wound it back and I still couldn't get any distance. I kept winding it back until eventually the knob came off. So obviously it won't slacken off any more than it will already. So what I suspect is, because there's adjustable braking, magnetic braking in here, you've got, I think it's 5 or 6 little pinwheels, each with a weight on, and you can slide those in and out to give you more or less braking when you cast. I suspect that where they're set, they are too aggressive for the weight of lure that I'm using. So I'm going to test that theory by putting a heavier lure on. Back in a moment. Right, so here we are. We have now put on a flying seat that we would normally use in these conditions. Nice and yellow, silver blade, but a small blade. Should be a barbless hook. I've got to take the barb off that yet. Right, this is, I believe, this flying seat is 35 grams. which is about as heavy as we use, and that really gets down low. So I'm going to give it a go now. So we've wound off the drag as much as we can without the knob falling off into the grass, and I'm going to wang it off down there and see how we go. Right, wish me luck. Well, that went a lot further. We got a little bit of overspool on that. I didn't like the way it clackered off though. Anyway, I'll go get it, pace it out. Right. Whew. So the microphones are still working. I better check, haven't I? Trouble is wandering off down there. They lose signal. No, we're still okay. Right. Cast out was 35 paces, cast back was 40. Now, on this, our first cast was 41, and I reckon with a heavier weight I could probably go 50 or 60. So maybe it doesn't cast so far, unless I adjust the magnets in there, which I can't do here because I haven't brought a screwdriver. Damn. Oh well. Anyway, let's get a lure in the water, shall we? Like I say, river conditions, atrocious. But I said that this time last year, and look what happened. You're going to have to put the brakes on. He's going to take all the line. That is a salmon, boys and girls, and he's gone right down through the pillars. There's no way I'm going to get him back through there without him rubbing me off on that pillar. I'm going to... Oh, that's a good fish. Come on. Come on. Do not let him get his head down. Oh, he's got his head down. Bastard. Come on. Almost getting right across the river there. And that's a fair old stretch. Look at that, almost. Right, well I've been up the river, I've been chucking it about like a loon, and I've discovered something. That is before I found a snag, discovered a snag and lost my lure. And that is, on the side here, is a knurly pin. And if you undo that knurly pin, this end pops up and it swings open. Amazing. And if you look inside, you've got a 6-pointed wheelie thing with little plastic things on. Now if you click those out, when I got it, 3 of them were clicked in and 3 of them were clicked out. So I clicked all 3 in, so all 6 were in. Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit scary. So I pushed 1 out and that was better, and I pushed 2 out. I can now cast into the field the other side of the river. And that's all you do. You can adjust. That easy. Push it shut and do up the screwy doofer thing. Done. Simple. So there we are. So I'm going to put another lure on here and chuck it about so you can see, if you want to, of course. Right, now we've figured out how to adjust this thing. I've stuck another lure on, and going to go gently to start with. It's not actually connected properly. It's just looped straight onto the braid for now, because we're not actually fishing, we're just casting. But we thought we'd do it into a muddy river. Okay, right, one thing I found out is because this rod is so stiff, there's no point doing it American bait caster style, where you just flick it out. It doesn't work that way. You have to use it with this rod anyway. I'm using it more like a beach caster. So we've got a decent length. Oh, what's that? Six foot of line out, and I'm swinging it round like that. Now that's almost across the river. And that was just giving it a good old whack, but not a real grunty whack. I mean, I could cast like that all day easily. I know I said I wasn't going to be fishing, but you know, it was out there, so I might as well bring it in as if I was. We're not going to hook a salmon, for God's sake, but still. I mean, I can't see that lure until it actually comes to the surface. So the chances of a fish seeing it, they might feel it, but they're not going to see it. Right. Oop. Oop. Got the line around the rod tip. Oh, there we go. It pays out quick when he wants to. Okay, we'll give that a go again. This time I'm going to change camera angle so you can actually see the swing and whatever. I'll use that one. Right, I mean this is more like a pendulum cast. It's not very helpful having that bank behind me, but still. Round and away. Oh, that didn't sound very happy. What happened there? I think I put too much effort into that one. I don't like it. I'll just bring this in quickly. You really can get some speed up on these things. Skimming across the water. Right. Have another go with that. Get a Canadian pondweed off the lure. Right. Okay, let's give that another go. Let's give it some real grunt this time. Whoa! Nearly ended up in the tree in the far side. So that's good enough, I reckon. Right, well the last thing I'm going to do is, just so we got a comparison with first thing this morning, is I'm going to give this one hell of a belt that way and then pace it out and see how it compares. Now I've got what I think is a decent balance on the braking. You watch these all go pear-shaped now. Anyway, bit of a swing. And we'll go and find out what that is. Well, spooky as it may seem, that was spot on 50 paces. 50 paces out and 50 paces back. And that was giving it a good whack. Now I'm pretty sure that with practice I'll be able to get even further, but you know, we know it's not about range, is it? No, but it works. It's a bit noisy on those hard casts though. I don't know why. normally it just hums, but when you really give it some beans, it sort of gets a bit rattly. But there we are, such is life. Okay, pros and cons. Pros. I haven't hooked anything on it yet, but that star drag is so subtle on putting the brakes on, as I think that is going to prove to be an absolute bonus. The other thing is, although I've done, I don't know, casting for an hour and a half up the river, there is virtually zero line twist. And there's no swivel on here. Virtually no line twist, because the reel rolls it onto the drum rather than winds it on. I'm sure that's something to do with it. Okay, so those are the good points. Other good points, you can adjust the magnets, and that is for fine tuning, I've discovered, because I can take another magnet, another thing off and wind that up a bit more, and it's about the same. So, you know, you can, because some people say, well, if you're casting with the wind and then you're casting against the wind, you can, really? Are we going to? Things against it, it's a right hand wind. You can get them left hand wind, because I normally fish left hand wind reels. But these were the ones that were in the sale, so those are the ones I got. Other downsides, well, not a downside, but something I've noticed. This one, unlike the smaller one and the bigger one, this one, when you cast, the level wind whizzes backwards and forwards. On the other ones, if you set it so your level wind is in the middle, when you press that, it disengages the level wind as well. Now, whether that's an optional extra that you can do on this one as well, I don't know. I'll have to look it up on Google or something. Yeah, it's nice. Is it worth the money I paid? Well, we won't know until we've hooked something really big. I was hoping to connect with a pike. They're still in season. Yeah, I was hoping to hook a pike or something, so I'd have something I could play with. Anyway, there we are. This is the Calcutta Conquest 400 by Shimano. Would I buy one of these instead of a fixed spool? If I could only have one reel, obviously I'd go for the fixed spool, because you could use that for more types of fishing. But if you're a bit of a nerd, a tackle nerd like me, you likes toys, of all the multipliers and bait casters I've looked at, this one, it's the shiniest to start with. It's also one of the most expensive, but by God, is it well engineered. Anyway, that's my opinion. Hope that's been useful to you, because I've seen lots of people do reviews on these and they're sat behind a desk somewhere. Well, that's not a review, is it? No, that's just looking at a toy. Here, at least I've given it a go and I've fiddled about with it, because let's face it, who reads the instructions before they try using it? No, we want to go out and play with it. So I've come out, I've played with it, so now you have an idea whether it's worth you getting one, or someone might buy you one, or you might be stupid and buy one at auction like I. No, I'm glad I got it. The smaller one I'm going to have a go with as well, but not now, so I'll let you go. Anyway, I hope that was that sun is. I'm going to have to take more layers off. I hope that that was interesting, educational. Wasn't much fun, not for you anyway. Yeah, and don't like and subscribe unless you really want to. I hate these people who beg you to subscribe. Anyway, I'm here for the fishing, and you're obviously here to watch me make an arse of myself. And there we are, we've done it again. See you next time. Bye.